Welcome back to RNG episode 53.
You sounded a little confused.
It's something. It's in the 50s, but we're hitting a more substantial milestone today, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
Are you curious to know what that is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
This is 6 months of consistent uploads every Friday.
This can't be 6 months. It's
6
been
months.
6 months?
It's been 6 months. Half a year.
No way.
182 and a half days.
That's actually fucking insane. I cannot believe it's been 6 fucking months.
Yeah?
God damn. Yeah, it's 6 more months. That's the whole year, boys. That's crazy. We're
True.
on the way.
True.
It's gonna happen. We're on the track to getting the next 6
halfway
months.
there.
That's
one could
fucking
even
crazy.
say.
Dude, see, this is the crazy thing about the current setup, I feel like, with this podcast. You know what I mean? It's what I like about it. It's just every Friday. It's just like that one opportunity that you get to talk to the boy and the people. Or I guess the people. I was going to call everybody the boys, but I don't know if I was going to be like gender inclusive or whatever.
You know, 99%, I think everybody understands.
I mean, dude, to be honest, there's some women out there that are part of the boys crew. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're one of the boys. Like, it is what it is. You know,
You're all welcome here.
Yeah, being part of the boys is a mindset. I think it takes
True.
a certain, because there's a lot of people out there that want to be part of the circle. I don't even say circle because that makes it sound like it's some whole other shit. But I mean, like there's a lot of people. Yeah, it's not a cult. There's a lot of people that are like, yo, I wish I could make videos with you guys. I wish I could hang out with you guys every day.
Are there?
Dude, I feel like because there used to be this time where there was a lot of people that wanted to be in the circle, that wanted to like, be part of the boys, but it was just like from our end, it was like we can't allow that. You know what I'm saying? Because some people
from our end, we were like, I'm tired of the fucking boys.
Some people don't have the energy, the mindset of the boys. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have that fucking mindset. Like,
sure,
if you're not about it, you can't be part of the fucking crew, dude. It is what it is.
You gotta be about it. So what's happening? What's going on?
So I actually moved my entire setup upstairs. That's what's going on right now.
Let's cover
downstairs.
this real quick.
Okay.
Let me burp first because I just did that. Had to, wanted to be transparent with the people. So first off, you started off in your room, right?
Yeah.
You were in your room, and then your parents left because your dad got a job in a different part of the state, so he went down south, right?
Yeah.
We'll just say down south. And
I like that. I like the way that sounds.
And so you said, this is my pad now. I'm going to go down to the garage. I'm going to make a little studio down there. So you set up in the garage, right?
Yeah.
And then after the garage, you said, I don't want to be in the garage. So you went to like the dining area?
The kitchen.
The kitchen.
Yeah.
And then to the dining area.
And so the current location is the dining area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say you moved your setup, you're just saying, what are you saying?
So literally, I just moved my mic, my audio box, to my upstairs. It wasn't like a whole, like I wasn't moving the whole thing. No, because like every single part of the house that I moved to, I feel like it's been like an era of content almost that I would like make in that room. And yeah, it has. And then I feel like I made a lot of shit.
Nobody's been seeing the era of content that has come out of the kitchen. It's come out of the garage. It's come out of the dining room.
So this is some hipster shit. I feel like this is some shit that you can look at me and go like, this is some hipster ass mentality. But I feel like when it comes to making content, I'm one of those people that has to create content. Like I can't not create content. But at the same time, I also don't like sharing all the content that I create. Like there's a lot of content
you
that
always
I make
say this, and I'm just in denial that you're actually creating. I think you just tell people.
There's a vault of content that's going to drop one day when, you know what I'm saying, when it happens, there's going to be a vault of content. Everyone's going to have access to it. But the thing is, it's like I really just like creating shit just to create shit. Like I don't even enjoy the process of sharing it most of the time. But when I like to like work on different projects, I share with like a select few people, or I'll find people that
I'm not one of
don't
the
know
select
me.
few.
at all. No, dude. See, I randomize because here's the thing: when you have the option to like just send your shit to like a wide variety of people, you get a range of opinions, right? And so it's good to diversify, like if you're coming up with new content to share with different people, so you get a different idea of, I guess, like kind of what you're doing, you know?
Yeah,
and
I understand.
yeah,
that.
so
you want
I have a
different
lot of
opinions, but you
content.
also want good opinions.
True, and it's difficult, you know, to know what's good and what's bad because that gets into the discussion of like what do you categorize as good or bad when it comes to opinions. I think that's like too philosophically.
You just have to trust people's
heavy.
judgment. You have to trust their taste.
Some people can, dude. Some people get fucked over, you know, eating hot Cheetos and they never eat hot Cheetos again. Like it's just some people just have like an association. But anyways, look. So I was in the garage with the studio, right?
Okay.
And I was popping off. I was making content.
How can you? What do you mean? What do you mean? I was popping off. I feel like popping off implies a level of something.
There's ways to pop off without.
You're popping off by yourself.
I'm
it's
popping
a solo
off. I'm solo dolo popping off in the content scene, creating shit.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I just make shit just to make shit. So I'm out here making shit and I'm sharing it, like I said, to a select few. And the thing is, it's like I like to get opinions from people that don't typically watch my content, or I'll get opinions from people that typically don't enjoy the things that I enjoy. Because when I'm like trying to like experiment, trying new shit, I have to make sure that, you know, whatever the fuck I'm doing, it's actually like it's not trash. Like it has to be like, you know, it's like something like down the road can be like presentable if I wanted to like share it on like a main channel or something, right? So it's like a lot of work that I do just on like a side channel where I just like work on shit. And that shit, it's different shit. I mean, music, like different effects with the green screen, like different editing techniques and different like shit that I just work on. And so the garage was like one era of content. And then when I moved to the kitchen, that was the WoW era of content. WoW was like, that's what I remember
no
the
content.
most.
That was just the WoW grinding.
That was just the WoW grinding, and then the
So
job
it wasn't
grinding.
content.
The,
It wasn't
the
content.
interview, life is content, baby. Listen, when I was going, listen. So when I was living this wild life, I was also doing the job interview thing, right? Like I was going to like all these companies and shit with that resume, and fucking, it was the weirdest shit because like. One day I'm talking to like an architect firm, and then I'll get off the phone call and then get on fucking WoW with like a bunch of sweaty fucking nerds talking about how we're gonna like finish this dungeon and get like the best fucking gear. And then I'm go do these fucking interviews, and I'm living this like weird like life of like everything I wanted as like a fucking just chilling at home. Playing WoW, fucking, you know, going to job interviews at crazy ass places.
That's the fucking life
but
right
at
there.
the time, I didn't know I was gonna fail every job interview. Right? I thought one of these was gonna hit. So I was really just in the mindset of like, I'm going to cool places, I might land a job. You know. So I was actually trying, but I don't know. Anyway, so that was the kitchen era, and then I moved to the office, and that's the home inspector era. That's like it was a different term.
It lasted like 3 weeks.
I mean, now we're in the quarantine. That's like the
quarantine era.
This is the quarantine era. This is like like shit's still moving, but it's, you know, at a different pace.
So. Wow. And the only thing that's been consistent throughout is the RNG podcast.
What do you mean, kid?
Makes you think.
Wow.
Makes you think.
This is the thing, man. When you look, some people they just want to see like tangible evidence in front of them. They're just like, I want to see links. I want to see.
I mean, I don't know if it's even
content.
tangible evidence. I think it's just evidence. Period.
Evidence. Period.
You know?
Some people want evidence, but you know, for me. You know, here's what I believe. All right, you ready for this?
I would love to hear what you believe.
200, I guess. Listen, I don't see people for who they are now. I see people for who they could become. You know what I'm saying?
That's fucking dumb, but go ahead.
No,
Please
listen.
expand.
Oh, see? Okay, no. See, okay, this is like an RNG podcast. I feel like my co-host hating on my fucking viewpoints and shit. I like this, though. Okay, but listen, though. Okay, so the way that I see myself and other people see myself, I understand. But the way that like I see myself in the future in terms of like content and what I want to like produce and what I want to create, like so I try to get creative and work on those things, right? So that's what like but most of the time when I'm like kind of working on that shit, I get like, I don't know what it is. I get nervous about sharing that shit because I'm just really in like a creative space where it gets, because here's the thing about content. Like when you create a piece of content, whatever the fuck it is, and then you release it, you know, and then you get hate comments on it and people like shitting on you, like you don't necessarily look at that uh, and go like, oh, this is good. Obviously, it's not. It's like people hating on you, but then people tell you like, just forget about the hate, move on. Don't let these people kind of dictate. But it's like it still sticks with you because you made something from your own creativity, which is personal, and you're sharing it in hopes that people are gonna fucking respond well, and then you get hate. I guess my point in saying all this is that sometimes when I'm just in my creative mode and I'm just like working on different shit that isn't like what I'm used to constantly showing people publicly. I like to just be very like I would like secretive. Is that a good word? I like to just be like on the low about that, like who I send that content out to, because it helps me just like
because
kind
you're
of
afraid of criticism.
it lets me isolate who I receive opinions from because I still do get criticism, but it's from a person or place where I know that I can work with it. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
you think there's value though in releasing something to the masses and having a large number of people say this is shit? Don't you feel like you're still able to grow from that? Like what's the downside?
I'm not even
What's the
saying you
downside
can't
of
grow
that?
from that. I never said you can't grow from that. You can grow from that. But I guess my point is that there's just different ways of going about it. So like, for example, like when so say for example, I work on a project, I share it with a bunch of people, I do my whatever creative process I'm going through, and then I come out with like a final product, right? Like it could be like a song or a video or whatever the fuck it is. And then I'm confident with it because like I trust that this is something that like I want to share with the world regardless of the reception. It could be hate or whatever.
Okay.
At that point, I don't mind releasing it to public, like to the main like platform that I have, and then going like, hey, this is something I want to share with you. But like I just refuse to just drop like dumb shit for no reason. You know what I mean? Like I just want to like sit with it and just kind of like marinate in the content, and then you know what I mean?
You've been pumping out content, you've been popping off, but it's all been shitty content you're not proud enough to share.
That's one way of putting this is hater shit. No, this is hater shit.
I'm just
this is hater shit.
I'm just asking because you said, if it's something I'm proud of.
Twist on that. No, listen.
I'm just trying to clarify.
This is the professional way of putting it, all right, Mr. fucking hating ass co-host right here. The professional way of putting it's scratch. It's like work in progress. It's under construction, as you know what I mean. Like it takes time. It takes time to build it before like you want to release it.
How
or
many
have
years
people go
does
and
it
check
take
it
to
out.
build it though? You know.
It depends, man. Like Saint Roger took a year to build.
At a certain
year
point,
and a half.
At a certain point, it's kind of like the old saying, perfect is the enemy of good. Like, when do you say, you know what? I've practiced enough. I've honed it enough that I can start putting it out there. Because, like, you have to put it out there eventually. Like, you can't, if you're talking about musicians, right? You're talking about artists who put out an album. The majority of the time, their first song fucking sucks. Their first album typically isn't that good. And it's like you have to put out the shit so that you can get the criticism and that you can get the experience. And I feel like you don't get the full experience of, if we're talking content creation, specifically YouTube or music, right? I think you have to go through the entire process of creating something, putting it out there, getting the reception, and then, digging through that and saying, what do I agree with? What do I disagree with? How can I learn from this, right? I feel like if you're not putting it out there, then you're cutting off part of the learning process. You're cutting off getting that criticism from people. And I understand that you're saying like you want to filter the criticism and you want to get it from certain people or certain areas, right? But I feel like just releasing it to the masses is a good way to progress.
Okay, wait. I'm not talking about filtering the criticism. That's not what I said. What I said was I want to filter.
You're selectively choosing
the
can
opinions.
Criticize. That's filtering.
But I'm not filtering I still receive criticism. I'm not,
but
like,
you're filtering who you receive it from.
Right. I just want to make a distinction, though. I just want to make it clear. Like, the people that I do send this shit to, I do receive criticism. So, like, for example, like, I worked on this one. So, in the garage, right? Okay, it's funny we're talking about the garage earlier.
The garage.
So, I had this big-ass fucking green screen set up, which, I mean, you've seen before.
I saw, yes.
Yeah, you saw the garage
large,
setup.
Very sizable.
And so, like, I was practicing just like regular effects, because I've been like watching a lot of like music videos of like old rappers, and I'm just like, yo, how do I like recreate this? So like I'm working on that shit, and then in the meantime, I was just working on some music, right? I was just kind of doing some rap shit here and there. I go and share it with this one guy, and I go on the hip hop Discord a lot. So this is like the prime place where I like find people who don't know me at all, and I can like anonymously just send like my music. So it kind of is like sharing with a random person. So when I do share with someone, I've had someone like literally go like, "This is trash," right? Like this isn't even good. Like you shouldn't stop what you're doing right now to do this, right? This is just not where it's at.
Don't quit
And
your
so
day job.
right, and I don't look at that criticism and filter it or anything. Like I don't look at that and go like, "Oh, that's bad." That could have just been like a random comment. Like say I had just released the video, that would have just been like a random commenter. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just a random person. But in a way, it's like I think not having like listening to something without having an idea of who the artist is, but you're just kind of listening to what it is sonically. Like I feel like that's a different type of vibe than like knowing, oh, this guy was like a YouTuber or like, you know what I mean? Or there's like some kind of backing
Yeah.
behind it.
I mean, I agree with that. It just comes down to if your plan is to eventually release this shit on your existing channel, then you're going to be facing that sort of bias regardless. If you're planning on releasing it on a separate channel and creating a new brand, then that's completely different. But I'm saying if you're continuing to release content under the King Raja label, then I don't see any what I mean. I can see getting criticism from people who don't know who you are. I can see the value in that for sure. But I feel like after a certain amount of time, you have to release stuff to your audience, unless you're starting a different brand.
Okay, well, I I get what you're saying,
Because what's the difference,
but
right? Like, if you say, okay, I've been working on a
right.
rap or whatever, and then you're like, okay, I'm happy with this. I've talked to the people in the hip hop Discord or whatever. Now I'm going to share it on my YouTube channel. The people listening to it are still going to be coming in going, this is King Raja, who is a video game content creator, right? They're going to go in with that idea still. So it's like you either get the feedback sooner or you get it later, I guess.
No, right. And okay, so to that point, I'll also agree with you. I think that's a fair point to make. But okay, so I guess to kind of answer that, I just want to like point out how interesting it is, because the idea of like receiving criticism, I think the basis of how that criticism affects you, I think that stems from how you view content that you create. So like if you're creating content, I would say from a place of trying to earn an income, then I would like not recommend people, take 3 fucking years to like drop something just to like not drop videos anymore, right? Like I would not recommend that. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody doing YouTube. Really, it's not a smart idea. But what's smart, right, as an idea, and what just works, I guess, for certain people. It just works for me that like this is kind of like how I like doing it. But I can totally see how you're gonna get that opinion anyways. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of interesting to like see what the difference is. But I don't know, man. I think I don't know if I want to rebrand from King Raja to something else. I don't know what the label for King Raja is. I know what people mainly think, or is just TFT YouTuber, but like I don't know. It just these are things that I've been like kind of playing around with more and just kind of like experimenting with. And there's definitely some stuff that it'll eventually go live, but again, it has to be like when I decide like, okay, this is like I'm comfortable with it. It's not about perfection, because nothing can be perfect. And to the thing that you were saying earlier about like how long can you work on something? You can work 10,000 hours, motherfucker. You remember that shit? That's a good saying. Listen, the 10,000 hours saying is fucking lit. Like people need to remember that. Like whatever craft you're doing in life that you're passionate about, put 10,000 hours into it. Right? Like 10,000 hours. That's a long time. But like if you consistently put that much time, they're not saying you're going to master your fucking craft, because that's never going to happen. But you'll be at a position where you can continue to just keep fucking evolving and just keep growing, Like it just puts you in a good position is all.
Sure. But I mean, what's that have to do with anything? If you're saying, yeah, 10,000, like I agree. I think 10,000 hours, obviously it's just a theory, right? But the 10,000 hours thing, if you did an hour a day, right? That's 300 hours a year approximately. after 10 years, you'd only have 3,000 hours. You'd have to put in an hour a day for 30 years to hit 10,000 hours. So it's like, sure, it's a good sentiment, but people typically don't have that time. And I also think that it's a very limited number of people that have that level of dedication to actually ever hit the 10,000 hour mark in their life. And
Also,
you have to do shit in between there. It's not like the guy who plays guitar for 10,000 hours, he doesn't play guitar for 10,000 hours and then make an album, you know?
I'm going to shit on my point too real quick because I just realized there's a hole in this because it is lit. Don't get me wrong. If you pull out that card, like, yo, 10,000 hours, that's kind of fire. Like a lot
You're crazy if you make 10,000 hours in anything.
It's a fire saying though, like to put in 10,000 hours. But like, okay, look, like if I were to poke a hole in this too, I would say that it's the quality of the hour, right?
True.
Because everybody works differently. Like there's a guy out there right now, essential worker, stocking shelves, or whatever. Like just like any job that they're working out there. They work a certain set of hours, but there's a guy out there that's working less hours than him, making way more fucking money, right? It doesn't necessarily matter how much time exactly is put in. It's about the quality of the time, right? The quality has to be fire. Like 1 hour making music shouldn't be like just like no progress. Like it should be 1 hour of like actually like creating some shit. You know what I mean? Like
it has to be active, right?
Right, active time versus passive time.
It's like when my example is I play Super Smash Bros. Melee, right? Technical game. Yeah. And I probably hop on, I play like half an hour a day, but when I play, I'm not like actively practicing shit, you know? So I'm not going to get good because I'm just kind of dicking around. You can't just dick around. You have to actually like focus and be present in what you're doing.
Yeah, you gotta want it. You gotta really want that shit. You gotta want whatever the fuck it is you're going after, right? Bad enough to the point where the 10,000 hours thing, it might seem insane, but at the same time, you could go, maybe, right?
maybe you could do it in 8,000. You know, the more 8, concentrated your hours are.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like eventually it just gets to that point where you're just like, fuck it, bro. Like 8,000. Might make it 5, but I'll still do it. Fuck it, it's 5,000.
You know what it wouldn't take any time to do?
What?
Put a new battery in that fucking smoke detector.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. It adds to the vibe.
You know,
it's the quarantine.
It's organic.
Vibe. Yeah, it's organic. You hear
that's
the cars.
That's how you know we live in real spaces. You know. I do want to talk briefly. You know your boy Romeo, right?
The startup.
Yeah.
Romeo? Okay, yeah.
Now, do you remember we talked to Romeo several years ago about some of our ideas, right? I won't get into I won't get into what those are, but he did recommend us some books. Do you remember this?
I don't remember the exact books.
You don't remember any books, but I went out and I read one of the books. Okay, the book was called, it's still called, in fact, The Lean Startup. Does this sound familiar?
No.
Okay, so the lean startup, it's basically like the essentials to get your startup off the ground. And it talks about the advantages of a small startup versus an established business. And can you guess what one of the advantages is?
About a small startup versus a big business? Probably like less overhead in general.
Yes, great answer. So basically, one of the largest advantages is you can get feedback from customers more quickly and you can reiterate your product more quickly because it doesn't have to go through as many different streams, right? It doesn't have to go through different people. You can just push it out, get the feedback, reiterate, and do it again. So that's kind of how I view something like content, right? Going back to your whole thing about how you go to, I feel like the more people you can get feedback from and the more quickly you can get feedback, the sooner you can make your content better. That crossed my mind, you know. We don't have to continue talking about that. I just wanted to bring up
that's a good point. That's a good point. Look, I think the another way to kind of like look at it, because we're just throwing out fucking analogies, so I'm like, fuck it, at this point I got a fire ass analogy. So like if you really think about it, right, like listen, like content is like metal. You're like a blacksmith. You got to make a weapon.
Wait
right?
to see where this goes.
Your content is your weapon, right? The
Sure.
thing is, dude, like, yeah, you have a hammer, right? Yeah, you got a chisel. Like, yeah, you can use that to like try to fashion a fucking weapon, but you need heat. You need heat, right? To soften the metal so you can, mold the weapon. That's how
Hmm.
you need the fucking heat. You don't get heat unless you fucking step to the furnace, right? Which is the comment section of a given video, and you let that shit blast. Okay, whatever the fuck it is you hear, whatever horrible shit they want to do to you and your family, it doesn't fucking matter. Who gives a shit, right? Open the floodgates, because yeah, that heat can heat the fucking metal, and you can make the greatest fucking sword of all time, like the greatest content of all time. It's built from the backs of angry, sweaty people on the internet hating on your fucking content. Like that's, I don't know. I feel like there's something to that. You
Yeah.
know?
What a garbage analogy.
Okay, see, this is the hating as the fucking co-host dynamic that fucking happens on RNG. No, but I mean, it's one of those things, man. If you know, you know. I've been watching those videos of History Channel where they craft weapons and just start like massacring body doubles and shit. It's fucking crazy.
Massacring body. What? Okay, we'll move past it.
It's a good show. I forgot the name. It's like Forged in fucking Fire or some shit. I don't know. It's like a show. Someone's gonna probably mention it. Someone knows. It's pretty iconic.
I think now is a great time to introduce our new segment to the show. You want to go ahead and introduce that?
Wait, we have a new segment?
Yeah, don't you remember we talked about it?
No, there's a guy outside. My bad. There's a guy outside my parking lot just blasting fucking music. And I feel like I'm just
Yeah, I actually
constantly
sent him there.
distracted.
That's for the new segment. That's like
Can
our
you-
background music for the
Alright,
segment,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
title sequence. So can you introduce it for the people?
I can't introduce it. I don't know what it is. All right,
Wow.
I'm gonna need you to
Wow, my
introduce
host
it.
here, my co-host is kind of dropping the ball. I guess we'll just move past it. And we'll
Wait,
have to
no,
talk
what
about
was the
something else.
segment?
That's fine.
I completely forgot. What was
No,
it?
don't worry. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll just move on.
What? What is it? Now I want to know. You can't just.
I mean, we can't do it if you don't remember. So
Let me try to think.
it's all. This is a bit. This is all a little joke. We don't have a new segment.
Dude, now he's like fucking doing don't you hear what the he's just blasting music and doing fucking donuts. Dude, I don't like this quarantine setup. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is
Yeah?
I don't know if you can hear that little bass aroni out the window.
What do you mean the quarantine setup? In your room? In your bedroom?
Yeah, the little so the way
Because
I
your
have it
parents
set
are
up,
downstairs.
yeah, so the way I have it set up, I got this nice ass fucking mic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Little hub, for a little audio interface, little fan right here by the window, chilling.
Yeah. Okay.
But it sucks though, because like the worst part about being upstairs right now by the window is there's a lot of people that do not care about quarantine. This fucking morning there was a parade of teachers who drove by this fucking street honking loud as fuck in the morning, waving at all the kids who have days off, which is really sweet to be honest if you think about it, like teachers going out and do that. But it was so irritating, and the fire trucks came out. I'm just like, bro, this is a quarantine time. Like every single person's about to catch this shit. Like, this parking lot outside is so lit right now, full of people just chilling and vibing out. It makes no sense.
People
man.
tailgating out there.
They don't give a fuck. Dude, there was a national dude. There's like people dying in Italy, and motherfuckers are tailgating.
Yeah, there's also people dying in
Goddamn.
America.
There are, yeah.
You
You
know
don't
this,
talk
right?
about the deaths though in America. I feel like as much as the news just kind of like constantly mentions other countries.
I feel like every time I go on Twitter at the top, it'll like give you like a little thing. It's like, oh, new coronavirus live feed. I'm just like, what the fuck? This has been going on for like a month. What am I going to tune into this for?
Yeah, what are they gonna say or do?
I
that's
don't need to
gonna-
know anything until I can leave my house. When I can leave my house, then give me the notification.
Okay, fam, how did it start that we couldn't leave the house? What happened in American history that just what like
What do you
did
mean,
something-
America? Are you talking like
Yeah, okay,
recent
did-
history, like the last month and a half?
yeah. Because if you look at the timeline, we're gonna be alive for like I'm gonna say at least another 50, 60 years, right? Maybe 70. Okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna be alive for a while. Okay, so
Okay.
we're gonna look back at the 2020s and go, what decision did the American government make? Like, did they drop a video? Did Trump tweet? Like, what happened to effect where everybody was like, "Fuck
the
it, I'm not
government
leaving
didn't
the
say
house."
shit until the NBA decided they were shutting down.
Was it okay? NBA.
That's my recollection. I remember like one day everything was fucking normal, and then like I got on the computer and in the evening, and they're like NBA suspended their season, and then all of a sudden like everybody started freaking out, and that was like, I feel like that was the moment. I want to say it was like March 9th.
How does that get people
And from
going?
that moment,
That's
I was
crazy.
like, shit's about to be crazy.
That's insane, dude. The NBA. Think how much reach the NBA has for people to give a fuck about that more than
Like nobody took it seriously
fucking
until the
White
NBA
House.
was like, we're suspending, and then it's kind of like, oh shit, if the NBA is suspending their season, maybe this is like actually something to worry about, you know?
That's some real shit though. That's some real shit though, dude. Because once NBA stopped, everything else stopped. That's it. Like everything pulled.
I just assumed, you know, that everything was under control. I just assumed things were good. I was like, people aren't fucking idiots, right? I thought we had a system in place to manage this kind of shit, but it turns out we don't.
They're tailgating and smoking weed in the park. Like this is really happening. Like in a quarantine.
Are they 6 feet away?
No, they're fucking not 6 feet away. They're sharing a fucking blunt.
They're done, dude. They're done.
And this whole community is done, and I got my window open, so I'm about to be done with them.
Somebody's gonna be spitting some Corona through your window.
Dude, okay, I have a conspiracy theory about Corona.
Every week you come to a new conspiracy theory.
We all have
Can't wait.
We all
have Corona.
We all have it. I feel like we all. It's fucked. It's so fucked. But we all have it.
This is so.
Okay, no, but listen, we all have it because look. Okay, there is a report of a person who got affected with a different strain of Corona, and he was a younger person. 33, pretty young. Right?
Okay, sure, yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's pretty young. 33.
Yeah.
It's not 65. It's not fucking 80. Who gives a shit, right? It's 33. Okay, so 33. Young guy, young lad, not obese, not fat, not weird. He's he's a normal lad. Yeah,
being weird increases your risk of dying from Corona. By the way,
no,
just
for
so
real,
you guys know.
you're gonna do some dumb shit and just catch it. But like, I feel like if you're not weird, you're just like a fucking normie, right? You're just a normal dude. He died because he got a different strain of Corona. That means there's multiple fucking like variations of this shit out there. What's to say there's not a variation that doesn't show symptoms? Because the main popular one is asymptomatic. What?
Right. Well, yeah, I think that's the thing. You can have Corona and you can like not even know about it. I think you can even like go through the whole like disease and not know you ever had it.
Okay, but wait. Okay, all right. Let me tie this into another conspiracy theory.
Another conspiracy.
This is the 1-2 punch. This is how it all kind of like comes together, right? The government. Let's start there. The government.
The American government.
The U.S. United States.
Yeah.
The government. Okay. Mm-hmm. What if Edward Snowden is right? And the government is he stated that the U.S. government was going to use the quarantine as a time to pass privacy invasive laws and ways to control the population.
Don't we already have that shit in place? Don't like the Patriot Act already fuck us?
Listen, I'm spooked. I'm spooked. Listen, we
already don't have any private. What are they going to take away from us?
Okay, so the new shit that they have is called the Earn It Act, which I don't know if you heard about.
Earn It. That sounds very bootstrappy.
See, but they just renamed this motherfucker, bro. They just like write shit to. Okay, anyways, I don't even want to talk about the Earn It Act because I haven't read too much into it. But let's get back to the topic. The conspiracy theory ahead. Yeah. The government, Edward Snowden, expose saying that the quarantine is nothing but a ruse, a wave, the Trojan horse for the government to fuck you, okay? In every way that it could possibly do it. This is the conspiracy. Then they say we have a vaccine. They say we want everybody in America. If you're
are you gonna talk about the fucking microchips again? Are you going back to the chips?
No, listen. This is how it all ties in. Because if we all have the corona and they all know it, then the vaccine is just a little candy. Come grab it real quick, little microchipperoni, dude.
I don't need the vaccine.
It's over. What if they force you? They're like, nah, you have it.
I don't.
There's a strain that's weak enough. Hey, come to the hospital real quick. Let's see if you really have it or not.
All the old
That's
people
it.
should get vaccinated. Why me? I'll be sick for a couple weeks and I'll be good.
They're gonna make everyone do it, bro. They're gonna make, because here's the thing: they want people microchipped. This is like some crazy conspiracy shit.
Okay. So you talked about the microchips, and I have the same question. How is that any different than what's already going on with cell phones?
Because here's the thing: the cell phone is something I can just like destroy. A microchip in your fucking like neck or some shit. How the fuck am I gonna get to that?
But you're not gonna destroy your cell phone. You won't.
I'm not saying that I will. What I'm saying is I can. There's a difference, right? So if I have something microchipped, I can't at will go like, all right, fam, let me go like put a mirror to the back of my neck and try to pull out a microchip. Like, I'm not going to do this fucking like movie shit, right? Like a phone though, if it started acting up, it's done. It's over. It's like, I'm getting a new phone or something. It's getting replaced. Like, but you know, that's the difference. Like one is like forced and one isn't. You know, but I guess it's a conspiracy. I don't know. I don't subscribe to it.
And then what are they going to do with the microchip?
I mean, if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole of conspiracy,
yeah, I want to hear what the side effect is.
All right, the microchip tracks your location. Now you might know.
Okay, so what's the difference?
I know. No, listen. I know you're gonna say the phone.
Okay,
listen,
all right.
I know you're gonna. You got to stop using the phone as an example.
Well, then give me an example that doesn't relate to the phone.
There is no example. That's why it's nefarious. It's an evil scheme. It's no
basically
answer.
Like if a phone inserted the phone into your body.
Okay, but that's why conspiracy theory is like a really fucked up hypothetical in that like it is the worst case, right? Like there is no like, you know, let's compare it and like try to like find logic.
You don't think you're already being tracked?
Like no, I mean, am I though? Like if I turn off location services, you think I'm still being?
They know where you're at. They know where you're at.
Are you sure about that, dude? If I go to my settings and turn off location
unless
services,
you're completely off the grid, they know where you're at.
I have multiple.
What do you
first
think?
Names.
I want to talk about.
I sign up with different emails.
Wow.
I'm doing my part. You know?
I want to talk about something related to this, kind of, right? I want to talk about do you think that humans will eventually get to a point where we start voluntarily incorporating technology into our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We start like becoming androids, right? We start fucking implementing additional functionality into what we can do using technology.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is gonna happen?
Do
you think you're gonna be able to browse the internet just from your conscience?
That's kind of fire, to be honest with you. But I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like the problem is, you know, like a greater because to answer your question, I feel like it'll happen for sure. Humans are gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Fuck other humans. I'm gonna be.
You're gonna do that. You'd be willing to do that.
Advantage.
But you're worried about the microchip.
It's an advantage.
Sure.
Right? Like it's an advantage. It is. Because think about it. If I have an advanced conscious that can like magically like remember everything and I'm just like fire as fuck all the time, like I'm just like my body is built off a fucking Android microchip, I feel like I'm more advanced than you. You know what I mean?
Okay,
but what if one day there's enough of people who get enhanced and we're like, yo, fuck these humans that are not like with us because y'all just like some broke ass humans. Like I don't know if I'm trying to like, you know, civilization, everyone should be enhanced. Wait, if you don't get enhanced, then that means you're part of the problem, right?
True.
I'm just saying, fam. Like it's easy like that, real quick. Like it's over. It's over with.
It's over.
Nah, but I mean, everyone is probably gonna do it though, because people want an advantage, bro. Like if they can get an advantage in life, you know,
it's gonna be from birth. You don't even have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's already CRISPR babies out there. You ever heard of that?
I feel like we've talked, but just refresh me.
Yeah, so TLDR basically.
I don't like the term CRISPR. First off,
hey, that's what they called it. It's like CRISPR. Not even like how you normally.
Not
spell
even
it.
a vowel in there. Okay.
It's a little TikTok type name. You know what I mean? A little app name. But it's like basically it's like a company that makes genetically modified babies, like GMO babies, and so. Basically sit there. It's like okay, so it's like people literally going into the gene sequence and going, hey, I want to remove male pattern baldness from this
Hmm.
fucking child. I'm gonna give him a full set of curly hair, and then you just kind of like go down the list. Like I want him to have blue eyes and white skin, like whatever the fuck you want to
Right.
do, right? Like, and then you basically just create this GMO human that is superior in every way
Could you have a
to
white
an
baby? Could they
average
do that?
human. You could have whatever fucking color baby you want. You want blue?
I,
you want what do you want? You want yellow? Like we could do it. I mean, shit. Like it's just a gene, bro. It's just a sequence. Like that shit comes out. Like
I'm honestly not against that shit.
it's kind of fire. Like
I
I
don't-
kind of love it. It's kind of fire. Like I don't mind it.
I mean, like, I could see
fuck
it
it.
being implemented in ways where it's like if somebody has like some sort of disease or something that would handicap them in the future, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, just take care of it. Boom.
Yeah, yeah. Why would you
And then
want?
I think it starts becoming a little more controversial when you're like, yeah, I want my child to have blue eyes, right? Then it's kind of like, that's kind of weird. But it's like,
Okay, but you can't prevent that. It's customization is built
I mean,
into
why
the
not,
package
you know?
deal.
it's like
I
people
mean,
who want to,
yeah.
you know, if they want two kids and they want a daughter and a son, it's like if you can force the gender of your child, it's like then why not? That
Okay.
because some people are like, I want a daughter, and then they have like 5 boys,
Jesus
and it's like they
Christ,
didn't
yeah.
even want the other 4, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like if they could just have the daughter on the second child, they would have been done.
Kinda
And now
fire.
the earth is overpopulated because everybody's trying to
okay.
have kids.
Race wars would end because now
Okay.
you introduce blue babies and
Everybody would be a
fucking
blue
red
baby.
Yeah, but bro, you could fuck around with the fuchsia. Like I don't know, get crazy.
There'd
like
just
whatever
be like
baby.
a hue and saturation slider when
fire.
you went to the doctor, and you could just select.
Actually fire. Like just skins, like different, like just like Call of Duty loadouts.
Like the color of fire.
That's kind of fire. That's actually fire.
What
Like
color would your baby be?
white, blue eyes, blonde hair. No, but that's what I'm
Like
saying.
an
It would-
Aryan
it
child.
it would end racism simply because of that. Because if I pull up with a kid like that, they're like, "Oh shit, this guy just all right."
What would it
That's
turn
a-
it?
that's
It
a
would turn
different
into
level.
something else, right? How would you become biased to people at that point? What would
Like,
people start saying? You know,
Blue skin gang. Like if you're a baby with blue skin,
they
if
they
you
just start saying you have
GMO'd into
shitty
it.
taste and you made your child blue. Why would you do that?
I can respect that kind of hate though, because that's like some objective hate.
What
Like,
color would get the most hate out of like the classic rainbow
black.
colors?
If you just choose like straight black every time, like I feel like people are eventually gonna look at you like, all right, man, let's relax. No, I think humans will eventually end racism by doing this fucking like skin modification thing. Because then eventually, what if there's just like a union or some shit that's like we just want to be one color, fuck
I don't-
the
I don't
existing
think the
colors,
skin-
we're all gonna be blue, and then everyone just like forces blue. Like that's,
I don't
like,
think
becomes
I don't think racism will
fire,
end due to
dude.
the skin modification. Okay, I think
it was
that's
because
like,
you could choose. Like here's the problem with racism
I
now.
think I
right?
think the world is gonna eventually, like in a million years or whatever, right? It's very hard to do like a timeline because humans have only been on the earth for like a blip, right? So it's hard to say a timeline, but I feel like our world is so global
Have
already
we,
that
though? I feel like we've been here for a minute. You know what I mean?
not that
Like,
like, considering the earth is like 4.5 billion years old or something, right?
How old are humans?
I don't know, man. A few million maybe.
That's trash. Like,
Probably
only a
several
million.
million. I
thought
don't.
We've been here. I thought we've been.
It's
like,
hard to process the speed of evolution, right? Probably like 100
Mm.
million or something. I have no idea.
We don't even know if that's true though.
It,
Because
de-
Jesus
it depends
could've just
when you start
created this.
determining what's a human, right? Because obviously you have like the ancestor and then the ancestor of that, and it's like that probably goes back millions and millions of years. But like as far as like current day humans, I don't know. Maybe like a million years, couple million. I don't have a clue.
Okay, wait. So what are you
I'm
saying
not a
before that, though?
scientist. Basically,
all
what I'm
good.
saying
Yeah.
is that I think, eventually it's just going to get to a point where everybody's basically the same race. Everybody's just going to be like hella mixed.
That's what I'm saying. Like
But
everyone
not
just
be,
goes
not because
blue.
people are not because people are choosing blue.
Blue people, listen. Blue people are kind of litty, just a little bit litty. That's all
Why
I'm saying.
blue?
Because
Do you have like an avatar fetish?
no. Okay, it's like actually I didn't even think about the avatars. Maybe like a different color then. But like I'm basically thinking right. Like I feel like people when they can like choose colors, it's either gonna go one of two ways. It's either gonna be like I won't ever want to be white and black, right? It becomes like some weird some weird race thing where it's just existing races like consolidate more power just by like using it to further. But the other way it could go too, which is what I'm thinking it would do, is people just go, hey, let's not pick a color that's already existed. Let's like pick like blue or fucking pink or some shit, and then let's just all
Mhm.
become this color and just end racism because now we can choose. We're not doing one guy is in white and one guy is black and one brown. It's just we can pick now. So fuck it. Let's just all pick one color, and then that's the boys. That's everybody. Like let's just like end
Do you
racism.
think that like we're past the point where skin provides any sort of evolutionary benefit?
It's never provided actually, it has provided a lot of. No, it's still okay. I think now more than ever,
It's
race
like
is
why do
not
you
an
think
issue.
skin cancer is like I think like 80 or 90% of people who get skin cancer are white, right?
Yeah.
So it's like obviously that plays a factor.
No, yeah, that's yeah, y'all. Yeah,
But you think that we have enough, we got the necessary equipment, protective gear that skin color doesn't have any sort of evolutionary purpose at this point.
I okay. To be honest, man, like evolutionary purposes when it comes to like races in general, I don't think the value is in the color of your skin anymore as much in society. I think the value right now is how much you have in your bank account. Like if it, because
Yeah,
but I'm saying that's the only value that matters now because you could have someone who's like a super racist white person where in the past, like I'm talking like 1800s, right? Like when like
sure.
slaves and stuff like that was around. Like you had people who were just white, like rich as fuck in the country, just like owning everything. But now you look at the country, it's just such a wide range. Like now you got Asian people rich as fuck and Mexican people and black people and brown people. It doesn't matter what color you are. It matters how industrious you are. It matters how, innovative you are when it comes to the market and what you can provide to society, right? So I don't
Hmm.
know. Like I don't think skin color has played a role in society. I would say in like the past 10, 15 years. Like ever since the internet became a thing,
Okay, so I think
I don't know.
that's a pretty hot take.
Is that a magnet take?
To say that skin color hasn't played a role in society for the last 10 to 15
I'm
years,
saying what plays a bigger role. Well, so let me finish that. That's the first half. Like that's
it
a
plays
magnet
less
take.
of a
Okay,
it plays
if you
less of
cut
a role
it,
than it did 100 years ago
okay.
for sure. But
Okay, listen. If you cut what I said in half and you take the first half, that's a magnet
that's
take.
that,
All
that's
right,
about to
let
be an
me.
RNG bit
No,
right there.
listen.
That's about to be a little Twitter clip.
Let me hit it with the water now that you got the hot. Let me hit it with the ice real quick. This is the ice, right? The ice is that it got replaced with money. Money is like now the new thing. It's like the new power structure within society, right? And it might have always been a thing, but it's now more powerful than ever because it's not just consolidated to one race of people with money. It's like now anybody can make money, right? And I think the internet, the reason why I'm saying it's 50 and 20 years is because that's when the internet first came out. So when the internet came out,
Okay, you got to do some fucking
is
math
it
on the
not
internet.
15, 20? It's
Internet's
2000?
been
Maybe
around since like the
earlier.
fucking 80s, dude.
80s. Let's go back to the 80s. Push
Maybe
back
not like publicly available, but that's like it became publicly
whenever.
available in the 90s for sure.
Okay, no. Maybe I'm thinking 10, 20 years because that's when I was that's when I was put onto the internet in terms of like artists, like YouTube, shit like that. Like, yeah, it was like it started back in the 80s, I'm sure, but like by the time it became publicly available, even at that stage, it didn't have like what we kind of grew up in terms of like culture, right? Like I
You're
would say
talking like modern day internet.
modern day entertainment. So like I feel like
Sure.
the advent of like the modern day social media type internet like 15, 20 years ago, that was the turning point to where race no longer played a role in anything in society. It's about money. You could be any race now, and if you have money, you'll be fucking fantastic in this country. There's like there's so much evidence of that too. Like rich people always get away with anything they want, right? With money, right? Connections, all that kind of shit. So it's one of those
I
things
mean,
where
I agree with
you
that to a
know,
certain extent that money is a bigger factor, but I also think it downplays the racism that is still prevalent in the country, you know?
yeah, I don't mean to downplay anything. Well, I wasn't attempting to downplay anything by saying that it's not as relevant as money. But I think another interesting viewpoint that I have to back that up is I have a friend who was from a really rough neighborhood, and he now is making a shit ton of money off cryptocurrency. Like
Sure.
A
How
shit
many
ton
other
of money.
people from that rough neighborhood are making a shit ton of money off of cryptocurrency?
I don't know, but my point is this. This
That's
is my point.
that's the point.
That's a
That's the
different
point.
point. But let me explain this. Okay, this is my reasoning, right? So my friend was able to kind of get out of that using cryptocurrency. He figured out how to do all that shit on his own. He's like a day trader now for cryptocurrency. But the interesting thing is, when he earned all that money, his problems didn't necessarily go away. Like he was still, when he goes into public and there's like police around, he still gets looks. When he goes to restaurants, people still look at him weird, right? Like he still has a social stigma about him. And I'm not saying that his racial problems magically disappeared. So I'm not trying to downplay it. Like he still had to go through it. But what I'm saying is like the reason why money's so powerful is he now has ways to deal with it, whereas he didn't have that before when he had no money, right? And I think that's
Sure.
a point. The more money you accrue, it's not that those problems disappear, but the less relevant they become. And in a way, that kind of became the thing. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't mean to downplay anything, though. There's
Yeah, I mean,
still
I
a lot of
don't
racial
know.
shit going on, you know?
I mean, you can say that, but it's like, NBA players who are millionaires. Like, it was last year, there was a story of an NBA player who was, like, he was in a parking lot somewhere. I want to say it was, like, at a gas station or something. And, like, basically, a police officer called in, like, 5 cars for backup and, like, fucking pinned him to the ground. And it's like, this guy's a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, money obviously helps, but it's like, I don't think it's just 10, 15 years. Hasn't made a difference. And I think that it's still an issue, obviously,
Okay, wait. Let me hit you with this little
but
left
fuck
field.
blue babies. To
No,
be
hold up,
honest.
dude. Let me hit you with this little left field. A little left field throw right here. Okay.
Sure.
All right. All right. Are you ready for this? Okay. Here we go. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay. Right. So if somebody were to get rich and they come from a racial background
A racial back, okay?
that is socially minimized,
Sure.
right? Such as like black people for the most part. Good example, right? The guy that you're talking about, the basketball player. Money doesn't necessarily solve racism, right? It just simply eases racism. Money doesn't solve being broke mentally. People can be rich and be broke mentally. So money can't. It's not like a end all be all solution to literally every life problem. But when we live in a world where racism is a prevalent issue, where income equality is a problem. There's a lot of issues going on in the country, right? It's not just those two things. It's like when you live in a world where the deck is so stacked against you, you need something to kind of fight back, I guess. And I think money is like the ultimate weapon in that pursuit of like fighting back and trying to like, live the life that you want to live. So that's why I was saying it has more power now than ever, regardless of what your race is, because now with social media, you can make money. People make money doing like anything now, right? Like I remember there was that one chick, the one that was selling bathwater. I mean, that's not a good example, but I mean, I'm just saying people do,
Okay.
people just do. I'm just saying like people become profitable because of the advent of social media, internet, and anyone could get big and famous. Anyone could get rich. Anyone can like make it happen. Anyone can get out of their situation. And if they're going through some shit, I'm not saying money is going to fix it. If you're only chasing after money to solve shit, that's bad too. You shouldn't be doing that. It's not a solution, but it is a tool and a way to help against a stacked deck,
Sure. I just think when you're talking about the stacked deck, right? That's essentially saying that, oh, the deck is stacked, so it's going to be difficult for certain groups of people
Mm-hmm.
to make more money, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem. If the solution is we'll just get more money, you have to look at it and be like, well, maybe it's more difficult for these people to be in that position as opposed to like an affluent white person, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when it comes to,
I'm not the best person to talk about this, obviously, because I'm fucking white. The deck is like stacked in my favor, right? Essentially.
not even. I think even white people face. I wouldn't. Well, not racism necessarily, but
Right. But
like Indian people hate Indian people too. Like it's just there's internal shit too. You know what I mean? Like everyone has.
I'm just saying there's
the deck
not like a
stacked,
bunch of barriers in place for white people for the most part.
True. Yeah. I will say one thing. Like when it comes to race, I never want to make it seem like because racial division is not a thing, because it still is. There's still like, I'm sure there's parts of the country now that are like super fucking like KKK backwards country type, just like ready to fucking just shoot people up based off of like, differences in skin. But I think the number one thing is, you can't control your skin color. Therefore, it should not be something that, you base your value system on, something you can't control.
Right.
It should be something that you can control. And I think what you can control is the shit you say and the shit you do, right? And
Sure.
so when it comes to, in general, when it comes to people in this country who are willing to go out of their way to, oh, I just lost my train of thought. I thought I was like, I was on like a different fucking thought process earlier. What were we talking about before that led into this? So I could like backtrack.
I don't know.
But anyways, that's fire though. The whole thing about like not the racial thing. That's what it was. So like the thing is, there's a lot of people right now in this country, in this day and age, right, that are super fucking racist, and there's people that are not racist, and there's people that are tolerant and open. My idea and my ideal is that you're not gonna be able to change all those people, right? Like you can't change the optimism to not be optimistic in the same way that you can't change hate to become love. Like it's the same shit. You can't change people. So what you have to do is you have to understand what barriers are put in front of you depending on what you want to accomplish in life, right? And you have to figure out what those barriers are. If race is, like, for example, you mentioned earlier, people can't get jobs. Like some people who are not in the same position as you maybe can't earn the money, right? Like I'm sitting here saying just earn money, forehead, like just fucking go get a paycheck. It's not that fucking easy. Like I understand there's people who have different barriers. I guess my point is that, instead of placing value on your race, if you're in a position where you're not earning a lot of money, place value on the income itself. Like, how do you earn that money? Is it just a job across the street, or maybe can I do something on the internet? Can I maybe see what people are posting? Maybe I could do something like that, right? Like maybe find other ways of creating that income. Just don't look too much at your race, because it ultimately doesn't matter, right? Like, until CRISPR comes along, then we'll get blue baby. And I think that's
everybody's gonna have a blue baby.
I'm gonna have a blue baby. I don't know about y'all, but I'm for sure.
No, blue babies should all
little
die,
blueberry, dude. You should name the kid Blue, and then your last it, and then Blueberry. That's kind of fire. A little blueberry.
What if certain colors costed more money? Would they start making a blue baby cost more?
What if white costed more than everything else and it never went on discount?
Can we also pick the baby's religion?
Imagine like there's a religious DNA sequence, like it's just hard coded into us. That'd be fucking crazy. All right, boys. Well, hey, this has been a great episode. Actually, I really like.
This has been a wrap.
Yeah. All right, boys. Peace.